Hello everyone, this will be the review of game Wanderlust or Wanderlust, and the key was provided by developer. I played one story in a game and demo version, which was another story. I think it's the Martin's story here, but I'm not entirely sure. So you can treat it as first impression video, but also as a review because I think I understand what the game is. It's a visual novel, mostly novel, less visual. However, there is some sounds. I guess there's also music, but I don't ever use music in visual novels, so I just appreciate the background sounds. Um, I like the writing, but there isn't much in terms of graphics. It's not very visual, this novel. There is some photos from all over the world because the idea is that you travel to various places in the world and someone tells you a story and you are that person. You make some decisions while uh, being in a different place, like let's say in Thailand or in Papua New Guinea or maybe somewhere else. Let's see if there is another option. I think there's only two. No, there is another one. Yeah, this one I did, and here is Africa, right? So you have a couple of choices. I'm gonna do this one with Papua New Guinea. Not all of it, just a couple of pages because I want to show you decision making. There is of course decision making as in most visual novels. There is tons and tons of writing. I like the writing personally from the two stories that I read. I like the writing, but it's generally speaking nothing more than a visual novel with actually less visuals. There isn't any characters. You don't see who you are, and you don't see the characters like in Sakura, for instance. You just see the environment, you hear the background noise, and you make decisions. So I'm gonna play for a very short time because, as always in every visual novel, pretty much everything is a spoiler. So I'm just gonna go through like 5, maybe 10 screens of the story, and maybe I will be able to show you some decision making. So let's start it and let's see how it goes. I'm just gonna check recording. Yes, it seems to be okay. Let's check the story. Let's see if it changes. Yes, okay. So you are on this Easter Island, which is the sort of a hub of the game because they talk, the characters talk being there on vacations on this Easter Island, and they talk about the places they visited, right? So now we're here. I hope we will be able to go quickly. Right, I'm just gonna click through it. Let's just pick something, and I'm gonna try to go to the story as soon as possible. Those are the intervals, right? Yeah, of course. He says he has a story. I hope we can go there. Now it's gonna load. I think we should move to another place of the world, like in a retrospection. Right, so that's the story. I don't know why there is sounds. There shouldn't be because they are cut out. Alright, so there is our stress value, fatigue and money, which I'm not sure if you can lose the game in any way, but it's gonna tell us how the character feels, how stressed he is or she, how fatigued. You can of course affect it by let's say resting or relaxing or going to sleep and so on. And there is the money. You can sometimes spend money. Again, I'm not sure what happens if you spend too much, if you can spend too much, but there is this element. I'm not sure how realistic it is. I'm not sure if the prices are actually like this show, but maybe they are. So let's just go there. So we go out of track. We're in this place. Right, there's no choice here. Right. Okay. It's just going further. It's like clicking next, next, next. Let's see when we have a choice. So far we don't have a choice. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, see, this is gonna affect. If I go, I did my research, my stress gonna go down. If why wouldn't I know it's gonna go up? So let's try to limit stress. See, it goes down. It's gonna affect, probably it's gonna affect the story somehow. Maybe there's a multiple endings. I'm not sure how much it affects the story, but you have choices. Like this is also a choice, but doesn't affect our statistics. Let's just say this one. I'm gonna try to be nice. Maybe I should go back. I wouldn't worry about it. I will go with this. Even less stressed. Okay. I'm not gonna read all of it because there will be one thing, it will be a spoiler, and then it will be taking a long time. You can just read if you want, but I'm going to stop in a moment. Let's just go for 5 more clicks from here. Okay, so this would is well, it can affect our feelings. Well, we are already optimistic. I'm not sure if we're optimistic because of stress, that it's low. Not sure exactly how it works, but I guess this one is gonna give me a more optimistic mood, so let's go for it. So that's gonna be 1, and then we go, okay, so this is gonna add stress and add fatigue. I'm guessing it's adding fatigue, so I'm more fatigued. I'm not sure exactly if lower is better, but I think it is. So more stress, more fatigued. I'm very fatigued actually. And now we can, okay, so something's going on. I can scream or grab. I would rather grab to something. Okay, 3 more. Let's get more fatigued. Extremely fatigued. Not sure what's gonna happen. Okay, let's take shorter way. And 1 more. Maybe 2 more. Okay, took some time, alright. And look at that. Maybe until 1 more decision. Okay, this is gonna be the last one. Alright, so we can climb inside or go back. Let's climb inside. And then, yeah, something's going on again. Right, we got back and so on. The story will go on. So this is what you do, right? You click next, you read through the text, you can affect your stress and fatigue values, but as I say, it's not certain if you can fail. Maybe you can have different outcome, but I'm not sure if you can just drop unconscious because fatigue is too high, or just gets really stressed and burst with anger or something. I'm not sure if this is even working. You can also switch them off for some reason. Uh, but there is some effect, like what's your feelings at a given moment within the story. You're kind of this character while you play. I guess I'm gonna stop here. This is how you play. This is how you go through text. You're like inside a traveling vlog, being the character and taking decisions or making decisions. So that's the gameplay. And generally speaking, this sort of visual novel backed with photos happening in different places of real world, and it's based on um, people's experience in those parts of the world. So it's gonna give you some information about the environment, the culture, the language, the food, and all that stuff, right? So if you are into traveling, it might be for you, because this is definitely interesting for people who are into this, who like traveling, who are interested in different cultures, different countries. A very narrow, well, there might be a lot of people who like it, but I think it's a rather narrow topic, because it's just for people who like traveling, who like other cultures. If they don't, they'll probably find nothing interesting in it. But some people are into traveling as a hobby, so that's the focus of the game. I like the writing. I think the presentation is enough, but it's less than an average visual novel, because it doesn't really have the typical visuals. It doesn't have the characters and the models of the characters. It just has the environment. Well, the plus is that this is real world, so of course it's photorealistic. But well, it's not like you can't watch photos outside of the game. This is a bit of a problem with this game, because, well, of course, the stories are unique and original. This is a piece of writing, this is art, this is sort of a book, so you can treat it as something with value, but just the information about the world are not something that you can't get otherwise. You can just use Google and get as much information about the country as you want. You can talk to real people there, you can watch the footage from cameras, you can go for Google Maps and see what's there, pretty much see what the camera registered. You can watch TV and see there what's going on. You can watch YouTube and find someone from that place just talking about it, and like cooking the local cuisine and stuff like this. So to some extent all that stuff can be achieved for free. if you are into this, right? Probably if you're into this, you already check it online for free. So you are actually paying for the story mostly. Maybe you might get interested into some culture or some country, or into traveling if you never was, or if you never were interested before. But if you already are, this is probably not gonna be new for you. If you are interested in, let's say, Bangkok, and you will hear a story about Bangkok, you probably already know a lot of stuff. You might know the culture, the cuisine, the um, religion, all that stuff, the historical background. If maybe you've been there already, right? So this is mostly a group of stories put together centered around traveling, and you have to judge for yourself how much it's worth for you. I would, of course, judge it as a book, because for me, visual novels are mostly just books. So that's we could say that's a book with a couple of stories, like a well, I don't know how you call it, anthology. Yeah, yeah, it's sort of a literary anthology of short stories. So if you value it at specific well, value, then you might pay it. If you think it's too much, then probably you won't. There isn't much gain here as such, well, unless you of course count decision making within a visual novel as a game, which to some extent it is, but large part of it is just reading. So if you like reading, if you're interested in traveling, you will probably like it. If not, maybe you won't be. Especially if you don't like the genre. If you don't like visual novels as such, you won't be very happy. If you like different types of visual novels, you may not find it interesting for you. However, if you are into every visual novel, you should like it, and if you are into traveling as such, you might also like it. Just in well, in case if you are just interested in traveling as a hobby, you might want to be careful with the price. Let's just check if there is the price. I think there isn't, but I'm gonna check it. No, there is no price. It's gonna come out in 11 days. So at this point, I can tell you how much is it. I would just say well, check it in your own head if you wanna pay for it or not. Maybe wait for sale. I can only say that I like the reading, and for me personally, even though I don't like traveling, I found it quite interesting, just as a piece of literature, but not necessarily as a mean of getting information, because we already have free means of getting information about other countries. However, you might want it as a just piece of reading for, for an afternoon, right? You definitely gonna take time to go through all the stories. They say it's 12 hours. They say it's like 5 stories and 6 short stories. I'm not sure if everything is implemented at this point. I got this as a demo version with only one story. Now there is like 3 stories. So you would also have to check if the game is actually finished completely, if it has all the content that they are promising. I'm not sure what kind of version I have. I have some pre-release version that was first a demo, and now it evolved somehow. It patched itself into this version that has more stories available. But before you buy, you should check if it's actually finished. Overall, I liked it. I must say that I liked the reading. It was quite captivating, and I kind of liked the small decisions that you make when you travel. There was one story when you travel by a train, and you really had to make a lot of decisions while doing it. You could just read a book and even look up while reading and stop reading and see what's behind the window. That was quite interesting. So you might like this sort of presentation. It's a bit different, but generally speaking, this is within a visual novel genre, so you should treat it like one of those. I would give it 7. I think it's above average because it has good writing and quite interesting topic that is rather different than what you normally see. It's quite unique to an extent, and it's just well done. Maybe let's check options. There isn't much of it, right? So right, so you can check ambient sounds, music. Of course, I switch off because I like to read in peace. You can mute sound completely for some reason. Text delay, I would suggest put it on lowest, because then you click in your own pace. You don't have to wait for text or paragraphs to appear. Window mode works properly, I guess. You will see in the recording, but I guess it's properly working. And those are the emotional state changes and costs, so we can switch them off. I don't know why they exist if they can be just switched off and they don't matter, but you might, I don't know, pretend that they matter. And that's pretty much it for the options. So I think they're enough. That's what you expect, and you get it here. I don't see the log. I don't know if there is a log in the game, but usually there is a backlog. In this case, there might not be. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna stop here. You would have to get the rest of the stories on your own and read through everything. I can say I can recommend it to people who like the genre, and I'm gonna leave you with a score of 7 out of 10. That was Wanderlust or Wanderlust, and I'll see you guys in the next review.